I've been wanting to do this whole speedrunning thing for a while, and well, you know what? I did it. This video is basically just going to kind of explain my whole process and how I learned how to speedrun. And goddamn, this was amazing. My ultimate goal for all of this speedrunning was that by the end of a week or two of practicing the game, I wanted to have my own record being under an hour long. That was my minimum. For me, at least, this all started at the beginning of this year, January. That was the point where I was getting back into watching Twitch streamers, and I would watch Twitch streamers speedrun Minecraft. It was becoming really popularized at the time, and I'm like, okay, I need to store this away. I really want to do this in the future at some point. And really, all I did for speedrunning was nothing. During my time watching these speedrunners play the game and, you know, maybe seeing some completed runs, I picked up on quite a few things. Speedrunners look for a structure that can give them the iron they need to make the tools for the nether portion of the run. I figured out how to do the infamous portal trick that everyone does to get to nether really quickly. I already pretty much knew that you needed to kill blazes and barter with piglins, usually at a bastion. I picked up all those things. By the time summer hit, I'm like, okay, I think I know enough that I could sit down, practice on all these things that I know, and complete a run. And I thought this would line quite nicely with me starting Twitch again. So on my second day of streaming, I tried out some things, some tricks. I wasn't actually speedrunning, but I tried out some of the things that I had seen on streams. Main one being betting the dragon. Now I didn't bring this up, but if you complete a run, you can kill the dragon in two ways. Either you break all the crystals and kill the dragon with a sword, like a pussy. Or you can do it in this way. Beds explode in the end. Hopefully you knew that. And yeah, you can basically use this to optimally right click on the bed to have them explode as the dragon is perching and kill it that way without needing to break the crystals. It is incredibly fast, and I honestly thought it wouldn't be that hard. Oh, it's doing like nothing. It turns out I was right. We will get back to betting the dragon later. The next day of speedrunning, I booted up my stream and I actually did runs with timers. I basically just wanted to use this day to practice the beginning of runs, basically just finding my way into the nether. I didn't really expect anything to happen, but a little something crazy happened on the final run of this stream. I was into the nether by 7.5 minutes, which is incredibly fast, even for myself now. It's what? Anyways, I was in the nether at 7.5 minutes, and in the fortress only 4 minutes after that. This is a really good starting run. I mean, for anyone who's speedrunning, this could easily result in a sub-hour run. I got the blaze rods that I needed, and I headed out to try and find a bastion. And holy I found it before 20 minutes. This is where beginner me starts to interfere with this run doing well. I forgot to make an iron pickaxe. Obviously, you don't need it if you get lucky and find either iron in a bastion or an iron pickaxe in a bastion. If you want to optimize your likelihood of finishing a run, you should make an iron pickaxe when you're in the overworld. And I didn't. And I realized this and proceeded to go back to my nether portal, mine the iron that I needed for the pickaxe, and go back. Fast forward about 15 minutes almost, and we're back in the bastion. And it really didn't even matter. Even though I knew that you had to get gold from a bastion and trade in a bastion, I had no idea how bastions worked or where to find gold. I didn't know any of that. Obviously, this is my second day speedrunning, so I was only able to get myself 9 pearls, which is 3 below 12. You could leave on 11, but you'd have to get incredibly lucky with 1 or more eyes already in the portal and have none of them break when finding the stronghold. So basically, you want to go for 12 plus. So what I proceeded to do is kill endermen instead to get the final pearls I need, because I'm like, okay, this run's kind of close to completing. I might as well just do the bare minimum I need. And I was out of the nether at 52 minutes. From the beginning to the end, there's a big discrepancy. And we were coming up on the sub hour, so I wasn't even sure if this was going to be worth completing. But for the experience, I'm like, why not? Might as well just complete it just to have a completed rundown. Because I'm completely f***ing useless at the game. Or I was. I wasn't in the stronghold until 15 minutes later. How I managed that? I don't know. To my luck, enough pearls had broken that I actually had only 11 by the time I found the stronghold. And I'm like, okay, the chance of having at least 1 eye in the portal can't be that low. And, well, there were none. That run ended at me being one eye short. In all fairness, it took me over 70 minutes to even get to that point, so I'm like, okay, this is kind of a dud. But I decided to cheat and go to the end just to see if I could have even completed a run with what I had. Oh, that was a good one at the end. Okay, well, adios to that run. I'm shit. It wouldn't even have worked anyway. We move on. Yep, it's now later in the day. Editing does some stuff to a man. Anyways, on to the second technical day of speedrunning. Basically, I just wanted to try out FSG, which, if you didn't know, stands for Filtered Seed Glitchless. The majority of speedruns, such as this video, tend to run RSG, which is Random Seed Glitches, where you don't do anything at all. You just start a new world, completely random, seed isn't picked. There's an array of websites that will generate a seed that basically will give you a bastion and a fortress, with some a village or a ruined portal at spawns that you can quickly get going and kind of exclude the luck factor out of runs. And I kind of wanted to do this so that I could, you know, work on my skill without first having to deal with all the luck behind getting a good seed. So that's what I did. But even though I gave myself an opportunity to get fully good seeds every single time, I still not only did not complete a run, but died once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times, and what do you know? An 11th time. What the f? As I'm speaking, that stream took place 20 days ago, and I'm still pissed that I somehow didn't complete a run. What? Anyways, we're gonna leave that disappointment of a day behind and move on to day 3. Day 3 was pretty boring. Basically, no run that day even made it to the nether. I was having extremely horrible luck. 1 run made it to the nether fortress, but that was it. Day 3 is really important in this whole journey of mine to get better at speedrunning. I took it into my own hands after having bad luck to try and find a map that could help me practice betting the dragon. And to my surprise, I actually found something. I got really good practice where I could consistently just immediately get a perch and be able to practice betting the dragon for 30 minutes. And I went from being absolutely clueless about how to do it to being able to consistently get 8 or less beds to kill it. So I was completely confident that if I got 8 beds, I could kill it within that. And I mean, it's not that I could barely get it with 8. I actually got a 5 bed one time. That was a really important day for me. I learned how to bet the dragon. And with this incredibly crucial piece of information, I moved on to day 4. And this is funny because day 4 also wasn't that interesting. But day 4's stream where I was speedrunning was actually the VOD that I made into a video, that being my last video. If you want to watch it after this video, it is very funny, but you know, not related at all. Anyways, let's see what happened on day 5. After a few runs, I got into the nether, and even though you couldn't see either structure from the portal, I actually found them both. I was in and out of the nether fortress, and I went to the bastion and was there at 20 minutes, which was actually just as fast as the run I almost completed on day 1. So, you know, I was kind of a little bit nervous because I thought that this could be it. But then I failed to have crucial knowledge about the bastion type in this seed. The bastion type in this seed is called a treasure room bastion. And if you didn't know, it basically has this long drop all the way down, and there's just a pile of gold blocks and some loot surrounded by lava. What is also down there? A magma cube spawner. Stuff like this, and giving piglins the ability to like flood in and just like kill you as soon as you try and mine any of the blocks. Treasure room bastions are really dangerous. If you're forced to get the gold blocks down there at all, you should really make sure you break the magma cube spawner, because that's what f***ed me up in that run. I just got completely obliterated by magma cubes. But usually when you're running and you find a treasure room bastion, you actually shouldn't go down there at all. There are other places in the bastion where you can find gold blocks that are much safer and still give viable piglins to barter with. I had a few other runs that made it to a fortress or a bastion, but nothing more crazy where I found both structures in the nether. I kind of walked away feeling a little bit bummed because that run could genuinely have been completed if I had a little bit more knowledge about bastions. Honestly, just looking back on all of my experience, bastions are what made me struggle the most. So if you're a new runner, I would definitely recommend looking into the different bastion types, learning about some routing, learning about where gold blocks are, because bastions are most of the time what f***ed me up, or at least made the run take incredibly longer than it should have. And with that, we move to day 6. I got 2 runs, one that made it to a bastion, one that made it to a fortress, but nothing more crazy than that. Later into the stream, I actually get a pretty good run going. I make it to a bastion at 15 minutes. It's slower than any other run that I've done where I find both structures, but still possible of getting a sub hour. I was out 8 minutes later, which is still considerably longer than you should be able to do even as a beginner runner, just as long as you know a little bit about bastions, and I didn't. So my bastions were still taking quite a bit. It actually took me 7 minutes of traveling around to even find the fortress. I was hyped. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's finish this run. Just kidding. I got... I want to say this still was partially my fault for just being bad at the game. In my defense, a blaze just sniper shooted me. Thinking about it now, I don't know how the blaze hit me because the fireballs are delayed. And just like day 5, I walked away from day 6 feeling extra bummed that I wasn't able to complete that run, because it was genuinely completable if I had just been more careful or just found a different place to get my blaze rods. And then comes day 7. Once this day hit, I'm like, okay, 1 week of me doing runs. If I finish a run today, that would be insane. Literally was doing runs for about 3 hours and nothing was going well. I was getting terrible luck. I probably went through about 30 worlds of just getting terrible spawns that had absolutely nothing around. It was just not good. 3 hours in, I start up a world and it's looking promising. I do all the beginning game stuff and I actually find the bastion pretty late. This bastion was way faster than normal for me. I was out in 4 minutes with all the pearls I needed. I was feeling a little bit excited for this because if I did a fast nether fortress, I could potentially finish the run in under an hour. So I was incredibly hyped. But my luck wasn't so good. I was traveling around the nether for 10 minutes and just as I was about to give up, I was cycling back and I had literally come up on my nether portal, and lo and behold, past the nether portal, just past what I had not looked at when I first entered, is a fortress. I was thinking I could maybe get a sub hour run if I just absolutely focus for this last bit. It was annoying to get over there because I actually had to use a pearl, and that was kind of worrying because I wanted to make sure I had enough pearls, so I wasn't actually sure what I was going to do about getting back. My blaze rod luck was all right, and I was getting ready to leave the fortress at 37 minutes. I didn't want to use another pearl because I really wanted to make sure I had enough just in case a pearl were to break and I wouldn't have enough for the portal. Because I got fire resistance from bartering earlier, I decided to take a very stressful swim back to the portal. And luckily, we made it out safe. We had 20 minutes, so I was kind of confident that if I just focused and managed to get to the stronghold pretty quickly, this could safely be a sub-hour run. I traveled and eventually made it to the stronghold at 49 minutes. 10 minutes to go until the sub-hour was no longer achievable. This run was basically in the bag. I was exploring the stronghold, trying to find the portal, and... ooh... that's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, I died. I'll be honest. I don't know how I felt about that after. No, I actually do know. It was full of pain. A lot of it. Yeah, that fucking sucked. I still feel the pain in my bones of that happening. That was not nice. That was just cruel. That could have been it. I could have had that run and I didn't. Even though I had that, I actually gained a lot of excitement from this because I'm like, okay, we made it to the stronghold. We're closer than ever to finishing a run. Due to how bad the nether of the seed that almost completed was, I realized that I could probably be a little bit more lenient with my spawns. So I decided to go live the very next day and I told myself this is the day. And I kind of wanted to try out using ocean spawns as a way to get runs going because villages are not the only way to start a run. A lot of people actually can start a run by getting all of their iron from a shipwreck. This just happens to perfectly line up with the 3rd run of day 8. I spawned on an island. For a lot of people, this might be an immediate reset. But for me, I'm like, okay, if we find a shipwreck, this could honestly be pretty cool. I found both a shipwreck and a ruin portal. The shipwreck had a shit ton of iron in it and a little bit of gold. It had 2 ingots. In the ruin portal, we found a little bit more iron and a little bit more gold. It wasn't really anything substantial, but it was more. A dolphin did help me for a lot of this, which took me all the way to a desert coast. I traveled through it for about 2 to 3 minutes and I didn't find a village until 5 minutes into the run and I was out of hunger. So honestly, I wasn't really sure how this run was going, but I knew that because I had all this iron, I wouldn't need to kill the golem or go mining for extra iron before entering the nether. So I'm like, okay, this is still safe. I could probably get into the nether within 10 minutes. And just as I expected, I was able to enter the nether at basically exactly 10 minutes. And well, the nether luck, just see for yourself. God damn. That's pretty lucky. Yes, I spawned on a Bastion, but the problem is that this Bastion is stables. At the time, I still didn't know how Bastions work, and if you're a beginner speedrunner who has no idea where gold blocks are in Bastions, stables are gonna f you up. I now know where to find gold blocks in them, but usually the only gold blocks that are visible are either just looting chests or single gold blocks in the actual stables area. And those were more reasonable for me to get because I knew they were there. It's not like I was just digging around randomly trying to find gold blocks. So that's what I did. And it just made the whole Bastion sequence take so much longer than it had to. I only managed to scavenge together enough pearls for the run to be completable in 22 minutes. I think that this was my worst Bastion ever. Literally ever. 22 minutes. We were just over halfway there at this point, but I had confidence. And thank God, because only after 5 minutes of travel, I found the fortress. And I got insane blaze luck and got all my blaze rods in a matter of 3 minutes. This run was actually looking good. Even though the Bastion was completely terrible and took a third of an hour to complete, this run could still be viable for a sub-hour completion. Now, the fortress that I was at was actually at a pretty good spot for blind travel. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically the process of making a portal at a optimal spot in the nether so that when you're in the overworld, you'll spawn on the ring that strongholds will tend to spawn on, and if you're lucky, you'll be on top of it. Now, for me, no, the blind travel was completely terrible. But just like day 7, I traveled for 12 minutes and managed to find the stronghold. But not only that, I found the portal room immediately. By the time I had found the stronghold, 50 minutes had already passed. So I was actually a bit stressed because I had under 10 minutes to enter the end and kill the dragon. And I quickly filled in the portal and entered at 53 minutes with 7 minutes left to acquire my sub-hour run. I very quickly set up my crying obsidian at the end portal so that I could one cycle the dragon or bed the dragon as soon as it could perch for the first time. It was actually very nerve-wracking to just have to stand there and let the timer go as I waited for the dragon to make its move. And at 55.5 minutes, only 4.5 minutes until I had been playing this run for an hour, the dragon began to perch. It all comes down to this. Yes, let's go. Let's go. I did it. That was 56 minutes. Let's go. That was the 56-minute end. So that was sub-hour. I had done it. I achieved my goal of beating the entirety of Minecraft in under 1 hour. I'm incredibly stubborn. Very much so, actually. So you see, I wanted more. I 5-betted that bitch. Let's go, dude. Fucking let's go. That's an insane PB. That's sub 40 minutes.